welcome to our session of neurotransmitters. We are going to be looking at Alzheimer's drugs, but in specific, ketamine. What is Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer is a progressive disease that destroys memory and other important mental functions. Brain cell connections and the cells themselves degenerate and die, eventually destroying memory and other important mental function. Just like any other disease, Alzheimer also has its symptoms, which is memory loss and confusion. This is a picture demonstrating the difference between a normal brain and a brain of a person with the Alzheimer's disease. As you can see, the changes in the hippocampus and the size of the sulci, the cortex, the white matter, and the ventricles. In the normal brain, the sulci is slightly larger in length and size, whereas in the Alzheimer's brain it is smaller. Even the ventricles, they are more in the Alzheimer's brain and less in the normal brain. Treatment for Alzheimer's, which in this case we are going to be looking at ketamine. Ketamine is a non-selective N-methyl D-aspartate receptor antagonist. It can be used to treat depression. A single anesthetic dose of ketamine can be an alternative to electroconvulsive therapy in treatment-resistant depression, given its rapid action. Just like any other medication, ketamine also has its positive side effects. Due to its hypnotic, analgesic, and amnesic effects, ketamine is frequently referred to as a unique drug. Ketamine may be delivered easily through a variety of ways and has a wide distribution in the body because it's both lipid and water soluble. Ketamine is used for premedication, sedation, and induction and maintenance of general anesthesia, which is then named dissociative anesthesia. For patients with pulmonary illnesses, hypovolemic and septic shock, and trauma victims, ketamine and its S+ isomer are the best anesthetic option. Ketamine is also suggested for post-operative analgesia and sedation because even subanesthetic doses of this medicine has analgesic effects. These are the short-term side effects of ketamine, and there is a variety of them. Looking closely into them, firstly we have an increased heart rate, slurred speech, confusion and disorientation, shifts in perception of reality, distortion or loss of sensory perception, dissociation of mind-body, ataxia, open and closed eye visuals, significant change in perception of time. As we can see, this includes confusion and disorientation, distortion or loss of sensory perception, and dissociation of mind-body, which is also common in a person with Alzheimer's disease. The mechanism of action of ketamine. Ketamine primarily impacts the glutamine system. Neurons in the brain communicate using glutamate. Appears to block glutamate at large doses, making it a potent anesthetic. However, glutamate synthesis is increased at low levels. Additionally, it might facilitate the information of fresh synapses between neurons. Ketamine is thought to aid in the generation of neural synapses. Ketamine is quick beginning of effect and distinct mode of action. This is a cross-section mechanism of action of ketamine. Below is a link explaining the mechanism of ketamine.
The NMDA receptor is one of two main kinds of receptors activated by glutamate. The other main kind of glutamate receptor is called the AMPA receptor. These two receptors, each with distinct physiological properties, often coexist at the same synapse. Shown here is a model synapse in the CA1 region of the hippocampus containing both types of receptors. Weak electrical stimulation of the presynaptic neuron causes the release of glutamate from the axon terminal. This glutamate binds to both AMPA and NMDA receptors. Although both NMDA and AMPA receptors are permeable to sodium and potassium ions, weak stimulation normally activates only the AMPA receptors, resulting in a slight depolarization of the postsynaptic neuron. When glutamate binds to the NMDA receptor at slightly depolarized or resting membrane voltages, very few ions flow through the channel. This low conductance occurs because the pore of the channel is blocked by magnesium ions, which prevents other ions from passing freely through the channel. Under such conditions, the EPSP will be mediated entirely by the AMPA receptors. Given a stimulus of sufficient strength or frequency, AMPA receptors can depolarize the membrane sufficiently to expel the magnesium from the NMDA channel. The NMDA channel now actively responds to glutamate, admitting not only sodium ions, but large amounts of calcium as well. The calcium acts as an important second messenger, activating several intracellular signaling cascades. For example, some calcium binds to calmodulin, and this complex in turn activates several protein kinases, including calcium calmodulin-dependent protein kinase, or CAM kinase. CAM kinase affects AMPA receptors in two ways. First, it phosphorylates AMPA receptors already present in the dendritic spine membrane, thereby increasing their conductance to sodium ions. CAM kinase also promotes movement of AMPA receptors from intracellular stores into the membrane, making more receptors available to stimulate the spine. In addition to these postsynaptic effects, calcium may also facilitate the release of transmitter from the axon terminal via retrograde signals such as nitric oxide. As a result of the increase in the number of AMPA receptors, the response to a stimulus of a given strength will be stronger than it was before the NMDA receptors were activated. In this regard, the synapse is said to be enhanced, and this physiological change is thought to be one of the mechanisms underlying the expression of long-term potentiation, or LTP.
Action of ketamine in the nervous system in the body. Ketamine has a slower onset of action than other anesthetic induction drugs after intravenous infusion. The patient's eyes are frequently wide open and moving side to side all the time. The administration route affects how long an effect lasts. In contrast to a painless anesthesia induction, the patient may become agitated after coming off ketamine. This is frequently referred to as emerging delirium, and the patient may be confused, agitated, and sobbing at this time. Unpleasant nightmares may persist in patients for up to 24 hours after the medication has been taken. Ketamine is a strong cerebral vasodilation that can increase cerebral blood flow by 60% in healthy individuals. Nevertheless, it also increases intracranial pressure and is therefore contraindicated in patients who have recently suffered a head injury. The these are our references for our slide presentation. These are our group members that participated in the creation of the PowerPoint slide.